Sony's new PlayStation Studios mobile team is making spin-off games for your phone. As part of Sony's push into mobile gaming, the company has formed a PlayStation Studios mobile division that will operate separately from console game development. According to a press release, the new team will create mobile games with new and existing PlayStation IP. Sony's move to form a mobile gaming division aligns with the company's overall goal of extending its IP to PC and mobile games, as well as TV series and movies. Early this year, Sony announced that it wants half of its games to be on PC and mobile by 2025, with Sony Interactive Entertainment President Jim Ryan stating that it could result in a significant growth in the number of people who play our games. The company is also looking to expand into live service games like Fortnite, Rocket League, or Destiny 2 that are continually updated to keep players interested, with its $3.6 billion acquisition of Bungie. To help fill out its new mobile division, it's acquired Savage Game Studios, whose co-founders previously worked with Zynga, Insomniac, and War Gaming. But it doesn't look like the studio launched any games just yet, but it received $4.4 million in funding for a mobile shooter game last year. So, this probably doesn't come as a surprise, I feel like with Sony, they've launched PS Plus, this kind of new revamped version of it. I wouldn't say it stumbled over the first block, but it didn't exactly come out, all leaping, singing, and praising. And Game Pass is still, the best deal in gaming. And I imagine Sony is just kind of looking around like, all right, what can we do where we can bring in some cash? And it goes without saying that mobile games make a stupid amount of money. Nintendo will vouch for that, having successfully made that transition themselves. So this doesn't come as a surprise to me. I am fascinated to know what a God of War on mobile looks like. We get a God of War auto runner. Like what the fuck do we get out of this? I imagine probably stuff like maybe I don't even know what they're doing with Little Big Planet anymore, but like a Little Big Planet, I could see them doing something on mobile, or maybe even like not Jack and Daxter, Jesus, that'd be nice though. But like Ratchet and Clank, they could probably do something like a mobile version of that. What do we think of this?
Sony are in a weird place, aren't they?
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
You would think the way they're like, let's make movies, let's go into mobile, let's do all these weird things, let's push into live service games more than single player games. They won the last generation, and by a landslide. And they have the vibe of a company that didn't. That's like kind of searching for a direction, searching for an identity, coming out of a generation which they thoroughly dominated and sold 100 million consoles.
It does feel a little bit like back against the wall, doesn't it?
It does. It's like, let's lash out in the mobile, let's make movies. As I said, there's big push for live service games, let's buy Bungie. It's very strange to see Microsoft, who seem to be in a relatively assured position coming out of a losing console generation, and to see Sony just kind of flailing? Is flailing the right word for Sony's attitude in the last 6 to 12 months?
I don't know if they're flailing.
It feels more just like a throwing things at the wall and seeing what sticks.
Or what do we do now? Basically. Because they're leading this generation as well, right?
Well, we don't really have good numbers on it, and they can't make PS5s to sell, I think is the big problem.
Yeah, but if I want an Xbox, I can get one. But if I want a PS5, it's still really difficult to get one.
But is that supply or demand?
That would be supply.
No, but is it because there's more demand, or kind of that? It seems like the supply of Xboxes and PlayStation are equal. Is it just that Xbox can manufacture them more than Sony can, or is there just more demand for Sonys? Is what I'm saying.
I feel like it's probably both. I feel like there is a lack of supply, but there is a high demand as well.
But it's not the worst idea to set up a mobile division. It basically prints money at this point. Unfortunately, how that just seems to be the case, but it really is. Again, looking like
pays your wages, mate.
Well, it certainly does. But you think about just again, the success Nintendo have had. Even though I wouldn't say any of their not ports, but their games they've moved over to mobile or made mobile versions of, I wouldn't say any of them by any means are particularly great. Particularly that Mario Kart version, but it's made a shit ton of money. So, yeah, it makes sense.
Even Nintendo's Mario Run, it's probably a stretch to call it a flop, But I also don't think Nintendo would look at Mario Run as a success. They just closed service on Dragalia Lost. I think Fire Emblem does okay for them. Obviously, Pokemon Go is the big one here. That's it's not Nintendo developed, but it's obviously a Nintendo property that is one of the most successful mobile games ever. Never mind video games, or never mind like the console manufacturers. I think Nintendo with I think more mobile friendly IP, and there's some stuff that you think, what the fuck are they doing not having a Nintendogs game on mobile? Like that's one of those like, what are you doing? Come on. Because they have a ton of IP that are, I think, more natural fits, as you said. Like, what are you going to do with The Last of Us? Are you going to make a puzzle game, a match 3 Last of Us game?
Don't put it past them, and they'll remaster it in 3 years' time.
Yeah. So the kind of games they're going to make with the IP they have, I think, is an interesting thing to watch out for.
Mobile Spider-Man game, anyone?
But again, like, what does that look like? How does that play? You know, because we're not getting to the point where we're just going to do straight up mobile ports of those games, because it's just. You know, like, unless you're playing as high-end a mobile device as you can get, that's just not going to fucking happen.
Also, it's just a deeply unpleasant way to play, like, third-person action games.
Natural. Well, you know, just swipe up the screen. You swing across New York City that way. That's it. Sorted.
You.
Yeah. Yeah. So, the big question here is, like, if they're gonna set up this studio, like, what is that thing that's going to bang in the way? Like, I completely glossed over Pokemon Go, but, you know, it goes without saying the fucking success of that is beyond anything you can comprehend. And
I've been playing it on this podcast.
But this is the
I have
thing.
a sickness.
There is nothing. I do not believe there is anything that Sony could make that is going to capture, like, the lightning in a bottle in a way that Pokemon did. It's just not, because, as you mentioned there, Garrett, like, nothing I can think of. Like, you could probably, like,
Tomb Raider Go.
How Nintendo haven't even had like a Phoenix Wright game. I don't know. Phoenix Wright isn't a Nintendo first. Is it? It's Capcom.
Yeah, it's
but
Capcom. Still,
you know, it appears on like Nintendo. But they have the fact they even tried to do something like that on mobile, which would easily translate across easier than. Or even the fact they haven't had fucking one of their Picross games appear on mobile. Yeah. It's just...
like, they've had Animal Crossing and that. Like, fair enough, you might argue about the quality of the Animal Crossing game. It's not a traditional Animal Crossing experience. They may if they made something that's less of a side game than Pocket Camp is. But I don't think Pocket Camp has even set the world on fire. I'm sure it's done fine. I'm sure it's made the money. But, like, Nintendo's mobile record is pretty patchy. Like, there's
Pikmin, that Pikmin Bloom game.
Yeah, remember that? That's still, like, it hasn't been shut down yet. It probably will be within the next year, but it hasn't yet. But, like,
I think it's Niantic involved in that
it's
as well.
a Pokemon Go, like, where you plant flowers with Pikmin on the side of the road or something like that. I haven't actually played it.
I mean, to be honest, what I expect they'll do is they'll probably just make some, like, Call of Duty clone, because, you know, like, Call of Duty Mobile is ridiculously successful. Activision are bringing Warzone over to mobile, which makes no surprise. Fortnite is Fortnite. So I expect...
Tekken Mobile?
Oh, God.
That's doable, though, isn't it? Surely.
No, that'd be dreadful. Can you
Why
imagine...
would that be dreadful?
A beat-em-up on mobile with touchscreen controls?
Yeah.
That sounds horrendous.
You know, touch different parts of the other body to do moves. I don't know.
You just made a DS game there.
Do they even have like a strategy RTS thing? Because like Fire Emblem was a good fit on mobile because it's like grid based. It's pretty straightforward.
Command and Conquer. Do they own that?
That is in first party.
Who owns Command and Conquer then?
I have no idea. Probably Embracer Group.
No,
at this
it's EA.
point.
It's
I think
EA.
it was like.
I was in
Yeah,
because they released a mobile game that nobody liked.
Oh, did they?
So there you go.
An evergreen comment if I've ever heard one.
But I like that. That's the other issue. It's like the exact same thing with Diablo in the mobile game. Just nobody wanted it, and it probably turns out that game made more money than any Diablo game ever did. But that's always the weird thing you have to balance here. Nintendo are always pretty smart that like you will pretty much never see a mobile game in a direct. They always keep those marketing completely separate because they know they're completely different audiences. So it's weird how they're going to balance this. It's weird how they're going to put their IP together to support this and how they're going to market it without getting that like Diablo backlash.
Do you think there's like a little bit here, maybe not Jim Ryan, but some executive somewhere has just looked at the numbers of other companies and the money they're making on mobile, and just going, well, fuck, we should be on mobile. We can make that same money as well, but not actually thought through the logistics and the practicalities of what that looks like. Because I feel there's a little bit of that.
It's the underpants gnomes effect, isn't it? It's like, get mobile division, then question mark, and then huge profits. And it's the question mark middle section that they just have not figured out, even in the slightest.
And when you look at the other thing they're chasing is live service games, which is again money, symbols, and eyes. That's all that's happening here. It's like mobile live service games, money.
And the simple fact is while yes, there are games that have been incredibly successful, the simple fact is for every fortnight there's an anthem. So, there's no fucking guarantee that this is going to work.
And
for
more
them.
often than not,
Impact.
when they've actively went out to be like, let's make our live service game, like Square kind of did with Avengers. Like that's going to be our live service game, whether it should be or not. It's going to be. And when EA did with Anthem, they flopped. Like Bungie didn't go out to make Destiny to be like, let's make a live service game to make a bunch of money. They're like, let's make a cool game, and they made a cool game and people loved it. Instead of being like sitting in your cynical boardroom meeting, being like, this is the popular trend. Line go up. Our line should go up too.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you launch a game or start to launch a game, and in fairness, Destiny did have this with a whole 10-year plan. But if your game has a roadmap over the next 5 years, I think that's already it's a destined to fail sort of thing. And so, ironically enough, I think the thing with Sony that probably is the best thing for them to keep pursuing is the sort of TV series movie adaptation angle, because ironically enough, I think their games are more suited for that. If you was to tell me, hey, a God of War film is coming, I'd be like, yeah, that makes perfect fucking sense, I think that's way more reasonable than whatever this mobile division looks like.
Yeah, because when you consider what does Sony do better than anybody else, full stop, single-player story-driven experiences, best in the business, churn them out like nobody's business. So that's perfect for adapting into movies and TV shows. Even if nobody wants them, they can still do it. If
you was to tell me they were going to make a sort of a television children's adaptation for Little Big Planet or something like that for CBBCs, that'd be amazing. I'd love that.
A Little Big Planet mobile game seems something that they could do.
You could probably do that in a way where it's not based on the platforming, but maybe based on more. God, I don't know. I guess you could do sort of a Mario Maker. Well, Little Big Planet has elements of Mario Maker anyway.
Maybe it's a bit you make, because obviously you make the platforming levels and stuff in Little Big Planet, but maybe it's you build your own little Big Planet. Basically, you've got your own planet, and then you can build out different sections, like a Simpsons Tapped Out or something.
Yeah, well, basically, you probably could do an Animal Crossing, but with Little Big Planet.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go, Jim Ryan. That one's for free.
Just take Nintendo's ideas.
Yeah, basically.
Sony dogs.
No. It's got to be Sone dogs, because it didn't quite have the whole Nintendo in it. It was Nintendogs, so Sone dogs.
Who's the most famous Sony dog? Parappa. Yeah, so he could be the face of Parappa's a dog, right?
What haven't we got? Parappa mobile game where you just touch screen, rhythmical touch screen.
Yeah. They made a rhythm game.
And you get different songs.
Are we sure Sony still owns Parappa? They
probably don't, because they don't own half of the things they had in PlayStation era. But
exactly.
Who owns Parappa in 2022?
Who the fuck knows? I would kill for a mobile Wipeout game, but that's not fucking
it's actually you, Mark. You own Parappa.
Oh, it's me this whole time.
I googled it. Yeah, you
didn't realise. Fucking hell.
Exactly. Yeah, you bought it. It came free with one of the PSPs you bought.
Oh, sweet.
The IP for Parappa, the contracts in the back panel.
It was going to pay off eventually. Going to pay off eventually. Yeah.
Exactly.